top two in the studio.
Growing up on the water with fishing in their blood, Matt Arey and Bryan Thrift have spent the last 10 years competing against the biggest names in professional bass fishing. Their success has landed them ranked among the top anglers in the world. If you're looking to become a better angler, then this show has all the answers. Join us and follow along to get actionable tips, tactics, and tried and true techniques directly from the pros. Welcome to Let's Talk Fish.
You're live.
We are back, and it has been...
It's been a long time, a very long time.
Well, it's been like 2 months for you, but I've done some shows. I've been here, and I've done some shows.
I must have missed them.
Yeah, you missed them, all right. But it's been a while, and we apologize, because everybody, our schedules...
We've had a busy spring.
It's absolutely insane. They've been... Every time I'm here, Brian's gone. Every time Brian's here, I'm gone. But we promise
they won't let me host a show by myself.
That's 100% not accurate.
That is very true.
The truth behind that is what, Jeff?
What? I'm not listening to you because
Brian said we don't allow him to host shows by himself.
Every time I ask,
we've done it a couple times.
Jeff says I got something to do. So
is that what it is?
I don't know.
He blows you off.
Yeah,
Jeff blows you
I get
off.
blown off.
hang on. I got to put myself on camera to defend.
I didn't.
That's a lie. That's a lie. We've done it a couple times.
We have done a couple.
Times. They're good too.
They were very good.
I must have missed those. But we have a very special treat for y'all tonight. So we have Mr. Hank Cherry, back-to-back classic champ
In the
studio,
record books. In the record books.
In the record books. Fourth angler.
Fourth angler.
How many people?
Pull your mic in there, Hank. There you go.
How many people have won 3 back-to-back?
Nobody.
Nobody.
What we talking about? Whether you've had Jordan back-to-back?
I'm talking about 3 classics.
No,
back-to-back.
nobody's won 3 in a row.
So you could be the first person to do that.
And he's guaranteed opportunity.
There we go.
Guaranteed
that's the goal.
So, Hank, thanks for being here. I know how busy your week's been. And
I know how many interviews you've done. And
A bunch.
So it's nice for you to be in the studio with.
Yeah.
Ron Sauer said his screen cracked when Jeff switched it over to you.
To me?
Yeah. He said his screen just exploded. He didn't know what's wrong with it, but when you did the little point and
you like that?
And
is that good or bad, Ryan? I don't know. I'm not sure how to take that.
Oh me, yeah, Keith Wood, that's funny. Khaki purse pants. We talked about the purse pants. So somebody made a post. You know how Thrift is with these cargo shorts. Actually, he's not sporting cargos tonight.
I got.
Wait.
You got hook pants on. They're not cargos,
but they have a nice
pocket for them.
little pocket. Right.
What do you got in your pocket?
I got nothing in there.
Stingers.
I'm not letting
Stingers.
Pack of stingers.
I'm not going to put my hand in your pocket.
He tried to put his hand in my pocket.
But, hey, look, y'all, we wanted to get together tonight for a couple reasons. One, we know it's Wednesday. This is the first Wednesday show I think we've ever done.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But it's fitting.
I think we've
it's
done
a
one
reason
other, but
to
I can't remember why.
Okay. Well,
But anyways, it doesn't matter. This can be the first one.
This is the first one.
I was tuna fishing.
We're gonna go with
That's
that.
one reason we didn't have it Tuesday.
You were what?
Tuna fishing.
Yeah, that's the exact reason why we didn't have it Tuesday, because Brian was tuna fishing. So Brian was out tuna fishing, and
I was.
I can't say anything bad about that because he was nice enough to bring me a few tuna steaks back this time, and they're in the cooler out there, and I can't wait to eat them. Yellowfin too, and y'all caught some dolphin, didn't you?
We did.
Did y'all catch anything else?
We had a little mishap with a giant blue marlin.
A mishap? Were you involved in that?
It was just bad luck. So we were trolling for tuna with some smaller 50 wide reels, and when this big blue marlin came in, we didn't have time to get them out of the way and drop a big bait back to him, and he ate one of the little tuna baits and proceeded to take everything. So that's pretty much what
he
happened
abused
there.
y'all.
He did. We wasn't even in the fight. We got to see him though. That was cool.
That's cool, bro. Yeah.
Bo Adams said he's cooking steaks next time we're in Pittsburgh.
I don't have anybody popping up on mine.
Yeah, you don't have any comments, Hank? Can you hear Hank all right? Because I know his mic's a little late.
I don't know.
Hank,
How much closer do I need to
How
get like
that should be good.
this? Check.
There you go.
It'll take me about a minute to hear that because it's delayed, but you should be good.
All right, so the reason we wanted to get on tonight, a couple reasons. We're going to give a recap of the Classic, of course, but we want to give you all an opportunity to ask any questions about anything that went down last week. It was a busy week, a lot of fun, interesting situation with the fishing for the first week of June in Texas. A lot of us, I think, went into the tournament thinking it might be dominated offshore. When we got there, the lake was 3 feet high, and it kept continuing to rise throughout the week. And Hank, what did you think? So first day of pre-practice, what did you think when you got out there and saw the lake? What did it remind you of, and what were your thoughts as soon as you got out there?
You know, as soon as I saw it and I saw how flooded it was and how far the water went back into the woods, it kind of, my first thought kind of had that, without cypress trees, that santee finish. Like, am I going to have to go all the way up in
Are
there?
you going to have to really access?
Yeah, to go in there.
I saw it, and the first thing I thought about, well, two things. One, Canterbury was running around. He's like, man, it's flooded. There's bushes, there's willows. He's like, but man, it's really clear. And I'm like, so?
That's the perfect situation.
Dude,
That is the
so I thought of
perfect
Bugs
situation.
Island,
Yes.
and I thought of Beaver Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Rayburn,
bugs. Yeah.
Rayburn's the same
Yeah,
way.
2 lakes that I've been to, and in my experience, and guys might argue this, but y'all tell me what you think. When that water, and I'm talking about like especially the first week of June, when fishing's pretty darn good.
Yes.
Like everywhere you go. So it's stable. It's consistent.
Right.
The fish are eating. Hadn't got super hot yet. Bushes, willows, buckbrush, 3-4 foot high, clear water or dirty water?
I'd rather have clear water.
Clear water.
Okay. All right. So that's common theme
I'd rather
among all
have
of
clear
us.
water anytime, though.
And why do y'all say that with the high water? And I'm the same way, but I want to know what are y'all's thoughts on that. Why, when high water, you know, people think when it's dirtier, it's easier to catch them or they bite better or whatever, but what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think when it's dirtier, that picking them apart is harder because I think they hunker up to a piece of cover and
Yeah.
you've got 10,000 pieces of cover. When it's clear,
Their
you can throw
strike
by
zone's
stuff
not as big
and
when
they'll
that
come
water's
get it.
dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I 100% agree. And what I found the very first day of practice, the first couple hours, I caught an 8-pounder the very first day of practice. I actually told you about it.
You did?
Hank, tell them what you caught, Hank, the first day of practice. Did you get a picture of this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you post it yet, or have you shown anybody?
No.
All right.
I was afraid
Tell
I
them
was
what
going
you
to jinx
caught the first day of practice.
it. I caught my personal best of 10:13.
Caught a
Oh,
10-13
nice.
the first day of practice. I didn't know about that one until the tournament was over for some weird
What'd you
reason.
catch it on? What'd you catch it on?
Pit bull.
The pit.
Flipping
I mean,
a
the pit bull,
bush.
pit boss.
Pit boss.
Flipping a bush.
Well, I was flipped the bush. I came out of the bush, came over a log, and that big thing came down on top of it. And I said, I've shaken off so many big ones at Fork this year that didn't bite again for the tournament.
Right.
I'm catching
Week
it.
away, if I pick
I
up
was
it's
doing the
heavy, I'm
same thing.
sticky, and I
Oh,
crack.
well, and that was pre-practice, right? That was so that our pre-practice period. If anybody didn't know, was it was a week before the tournament started. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a week before the tournament started. So a lot of us weren't too hesitant to stick a couple fish because number one, you want to know if you're on the quality to win the classic because that's why you're there, and number two, that place has giants. So we needed to figure out if it was capable of producing those 8 and 9 and 10 pounders that we thought we might need to win the classic up shallow, or where we're going to have to go out in the timber and out deep to actually find those big giants. I said after the second day of practice, Canterbury and I talked, and I said, dude, I don't see why any reason this tournament can't be one shallow. Because, you know, you wonder things in
Oh,
June.
yeah.
You're like,
Especially in Texas.
in a 3-day tournament
Yeah.
or a 4-day tournament. You're like, I really don't know if this thing can be one shallow.
Yeah.
But the overall quality of fish that were being caught shallow throughout practice, or the bites that we were getting and what we were seeing, I was like, everybody, okay, so what was your guess pre-tournament, Hank, to win the Classic, weight-wise?
I think it was like 57.3, something like that.
Okay, so I said 58 to 61 pounds is what I said in a pre-tournament interview. We were all 10 pounds off, every single one of us. If you could rewind and talk about the potential was there to catch 60 pounds shallow, 100%.
But I think what happened is we all
Was
were trying to
everybody
find as
fishing?
many locations as possible and didn't see people there. And so I thought I had 5, 6, 7, 8 places that I hadn't seen anybody on. But then come tournament time,
Right.
There,
you're on one. You're like on one of the best places the whole time. Chris is on one. So it's kind of like this is going to cut it down a little bit.
But it was funny because what you just said, and I wanted to bring that up, the funny part about this is Hank, Chris Jones, and myself, first, second, and third in the Classic, were sharing 2 or 3 different points. And now you fished a couple areas that I didn't know
I was
about.
going to ask y'all, what was the main feature of the places y'all caught them? Was it a point? Was
Main
it
Lake.
All right.
Well, for me,
Yeah.
Well, I know at least
Mine
two
too.
places where yours the same
Yeah.
way. It had a mix. It had a real defined mix line of buckbrush and willow trees.
Okay.
And it was flat. You know, it was flat. But
did
it had,
the bushes just stop, or did they continue out under the
well, so one place was pretty unique. So this is funny. So imagine a big flat point comes out, sticks out in the main lake,
Right.
okay, at the mouth of a big creek. Has some real pretty willow trees, and it makes a real defined point.
Right.
Down the side of it, it has some scattered willows, and the point's real flat, but the whole thing's flooded.
Right.
It goes back and gets wider and wider and wider to the ground that's normally dry.
Mm-hmm.
But where that ground that's normally dry, if you imagine Texas, flooding Texas, it's like weird types of mixes of grasses. It's not
Yeah.
just like one, it's not like flooding our yard
Right.
over here at Lake Norman. It's a lot of combinations of things. So what I was able never to really figure out, because I caught him on a variety of stuff. Well, let me finish what I was saying. So that place, Hank was fishing the outside of it, and he was fishing a bend, the side of the point. One common thing that I found was the side of the point leading into those turns, those first turns seemed to be really good.
That was the
probably
best
because of
place.
the bait and the deep water that swings in there.
And a lot of the other guys would fish just the point
Correct.
and get on.
Yep. And Hank came in to fish that place, and he starts on the point and he starts down the side of it, and I could see him the whole time, and he doesn't know I'm there. Because what I'd done is I had gone up on the point, and I was fishing the inside
Yeah.
of the line of trees. And Hank he finally gets up there and he says, "What'd you say? You see?"
So what are you doing, Matthew?
We can start seeing each other through the trees a little bit. We're only like 50 yards apart.
Yeah.
But he just started to see me in there. So I'm fishing the back side of it, and he's fishing the front side of it. But that point was fairly unique. There wasn't many places you could actually go inside of and fish,
Right.
because it would end, the defined line would end, or the bank would be there or whatever. But that seemed to be one of the more common things that I found. Main lake, a good mix, deep water swings, baits present in all of them.
Well, the one where I caught the majority of my big fish was, if you took the water away, it would just be a straight, long, natural point with willow trees on it
Yeah.
that protruded into the lake and protected the bay. But the way it ran, what was key for me was when the wind blew, it'd make current come through the trees.
Yeah.
And I could fish them all effectively from the outside, and I could go around. It was like a totally different presentation from the other side.
Right. But there wasn't a lot of trees on subsurface. there.
No.
Okay. So the
key,
fish
the key
had
for me
one
on those
area
places
to
where
be
I
in.
caught them, which was crazy because of that, and I'm sure Matt noticed because I'm sure he hit it with his motor or his trolling motor every once in a while. There would be scattered rock
Yeah.
around those places from that
And
hard
fence
bottom.
posts and
Yeah.
rebarb and all kinds of stuff. Barbed wire. There was all kinds of. You had to be real careful when you got up on that flat stuff. And I don't know if anybody punctured their hull, but I was close
It
to
was
it.
possible.
It was very possible.
Very
possible.
Very possible. All right. So Hank, I want to hear from you about your last day, since I haven't got to watch it. Obviously, I know what you caught. But how was your morning? Because I know your morning deal was pretty critical throughout the week.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that the second morning because of the storm delay.
But actually the second morning, as soon as I got there, 'cause I was basically just running straight across the lake from
Yeah.
takeoff.
Yeah.
Everybody else was scooting left and right. And that second morning, I caught that 6 and the 5, just like boom, boom.
Was anybody over there in that
No,
area?
they got Jay Will Cox knew that I called him there the first day, and they're like, we're not coming back. So I was like,
Well, that
I
was cool.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
But the last day was by far, and if anybody watched it, they can attest to it. It was like just a flat out 5-bite struggle. I mean, I actually got 7 bites. 2 of them never came out of the bushes, but the other 5 bites, just getting them was a struggle. And I ended up catching my last 3 fish, putting up the braid. I broke off my jig.
Oh, somebody asked that question. So
Yeah,
they
I
said, why
seen
did
that
you go
up.
to the light line? So
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
That's
so.
why. So I figured the pressure and the noise and all that. So I went to the smallest crawl I had in the boat, 1/4 ounce weight, 15-pound line.
That's what wins classic.
And I'm like,
That's what wins classic.
all right. And I'm telling you, when I say I caught the dumbest fish in the lake, I caught the dumbest fish in the lake.
You
'Cause
talking about the one that swam out of the bush?
Yeah.
I watched that video,
Right.
and I said, well,
Tell the story
I said,
on this.
I was like, you can't beat that. Like, you cannot, no matter what I do, I cannot beat that right there.
Well, I pitched my bait, and people don't pay attention, but that light weight, it kind of ricochets, so it doesn't go into the bush.
Right.
Right.
yeah.
And then I'm sitting there going to work, and I look down, and he eats it and swims out of the bush. And I'm like, that light line, it's around that one arm. If I rear back and crack, I'm going to break it. So I
Yeah.
kind of just got into him.
What pound line did you say it was?
15 pound.
15, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then he goes back to the bush, and I'm not hitting on high, I'm just holding pressure. And next thing I know, he swims out of the bush to the boat. And I'm just like,
I saw him. Did you see that clip?
No, I
So
don't see it.
Hank, he looked like he set the hook, not hard,
Yeah.
and he's kind of holding the fish, and you're just kind of holding it. I mean, you're super calm, just kind of holding it, and dude, you just see the line just go, whoop, and just swim right out of the
That's
bush.
awesome.
And it comes right out, and dude, the fish almost looks dead. Like it comes out. I never see it fight. It comes out, and he's just like, "Nyup." And it's a 4-pounder. Like it's a 4-pounder.
I mean, it was like that doesn't happen.
No,
See, and I
that
broke
does not
through
happen.
those trees. This is the amazing part of that. I break through those trees to get back to that bush, and on the trees that I just broke through, they come to me live, and I pitch back to the third one, and I knew I shook them all coming in, and they go to talk to me, and I pick up, and my stuff's taking off, and I rip down, and that gives me number 4, and I was just like, okay, there's 2 dumb ones over here.
So
That's what I like. I like catching big dumb ones.
I see a question on here, and I want you to answer this too, Brian, because we've all experienced this.
All right, what we got?
So day 3, and we'll start with Hank. They want to know, Ryan Sowers asked, why do you think guys were bringing in smaller sacks on the 3rd day? Didn't see a lot of limits weighed in on the 3rd day. And talk about y'all's theory behind that, and then I'll tell mine. Now, keep in mind, it's the Bassmaster Classic, day 3. All right, so go ahead.
One, day 3 was totally different from day 1 and 2, and it was already smoldering hot when we took off.
Yeah,
No
it was like
wind.
81 degrees
Yeah.
at 6:15 in the morning.
No wind.
June day in Texas.
The shad spawn was kind of dwindling. The mayflies were kind of dwindling, and we had really just annihilated that place, for 2 straight days. And I think it just got to the point, and actually that night the water rose a little bit more, so it moved them around again. And I honestly think fish become conditioned to stuff, and knowing it was the weekend, that the bite was going to get progressively worse, because that's when the most boats are on the water, period, all year long.
Right.
And I think they're definitely affected by that. And I think if you even look at our elite tournaments, as you get into the weekend, lots of times the weights just typically go down. And I just don't believe Ray Roberts has quality. It just
I mean,
lacks.
quantity.
It has quality, but it lacks quantity.
Right, okay, yeah, I agree 100%.
That's my theory on it.
Well, that a lot of people said the same thing, that lake, and Brian, you fished there.
Yeah,
And Brian
I've
had
been
a
there
Brian. If people don't know, Brian had a second place finish to Matt Herron back in 2016, was it?
If the last TTBC
2017.
That everybody was invited to.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
2017. So Brian's experience,
And it was
very
kind of
similar.
the same situation. We were there in late May, water was flooded, and it was a bush flipping deal with the shad spawn.
They have a lot of places to hide on that place when it floods.
They really do.
So what's your theory on the weights dropping on a day 3 of a now? Like I said, and I'll say why I believe it, but because it's a championship tournament. Why do you think sacks drop?
I mean, I've got to mirror Hank's, answer to the question, because obviously pressure does affect it. I mean, you see what Hank did. He downsized to get his last 2 bites and ultimately win the Classic for him. But also I think fish know the weekend. I think,
They know
I
what day
swear,
it is.
I think they know.
I ain't gonna disagree with that.
I mean,
100%.
I've fished enough, even around the house here. Like, you go to your favorite lake, your favorite home lake during the week on a Wednesday or Thursday, and you just smash them, get a ton of bites. Go out there on Saturday, and it's like you struggle to get 10 or 12 bites all day long. And you're like, well, man, what's going on? I think it's just the extra presence of boats. I mean, these fish, especially in clear water, they know when there's a boat around them, especially if they're being pressured by fishermen, but even not even fishermen, just pleasure boaters, just all that extra noise. I think they stay where they're at. I just think they sull up and don't bite. But that's my 2 theories on it, is just boat pressure.
I'm going to agree with what both of y'all said. And I'm going to add another thing in there just because I know the caliber of the tournament that you're fishing. And sometimes if those guys were in 15th to 25th place, they're all there for the same reason Hank and I were there, to win. That's all that matters in a championship tournament to these guys. I can promise you. Ryan can attest to
I know
that.
what you're going to say. And they're fish big enough
Huh?
to jump you 15 spots. That's what you're saying. You're
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
only for big
Yeah,
ones?
they'll-
Hell, go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
I'm just kidding, man.
I mean, that's what I would do if I was in 15
Jeff
in the
knows.
classic.
He gets it.
Give us
That's
your
what I would
take.
do.
Yeah,
Jeff's
okay.
going for the big bite.
No, Jeff's actually
Swinging for the fence.
he's hitting the nail on the head, and I hate that term.
I didn't
swinging
want to
for
say
the
there's no
fence.
points for second place, but you know what I mean.
I didn't even get a damn trophy, Jeff. And Hank had the nerve to bring it. That's why I've been drinking since 5 o'clock today. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, Jeff actually is correct. I hate saying that out loud, but Jeff's actually correct. To an extent that those guys had to take a lot more risks to have a shot at catching a 25 to 30 pound bag that they knew they needed to win. So that has a little bit of impact on the amount of limits that might have been weighed in. But the conditions, the pressure, y'all talk about electronics. Like all my electronics were turned off every once in a while. I turned my GPS on up front, but that's it. I try to keep all that
That is
quiet.
something that I think is getting more important in today's
Stealth.
time is putting, just stop the pinging on the sonar when you're fishing shallow. You can keep your GPS map up, but if you're really trying to be stealthy, just hit stop sonar and just cut that little bit of noise out of it.
Yep. So I want to get back to a couple questions. They act like COVID's still around on the weekends. Ethan Barton said that's the problem with the fish. All right, Thrift, you ever wanted to transition and try to fish for a classic?
I had never really put much thought into it. I'm the type of person
He just wants to fish and make money.
I don't care where I fish as long as I can make
answer
a
that.
living.
He just wants to fish and make
if
money.
I can make a living around the house fishing, I'd do that. It doesn't matter to me
That
where
is
it's at.
that is 100%
Shows up a
accurate.
mud puddle on a check, and he's in.
If there was
Yeah.
50,000
That
tournaments
sounds
every
like
weekend in North
carp
Carolina,
fishing career right there.
Yeah.
what's that?
That sounds like a carp fishing career next for him.
No.
Just around the
It's
house.
hard to win 100 grand carp fishing.
I don't know. These days they're getting up there.
Hey, my buddy
That's
Chet,
true.
Chet's won over $20,000 in the past 8 months at the carp lake.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
carp
a lot
fishing,
for carp
dude.
fishing. That is
So,
very true.
I don't care to see another carp after Ray Roberts just said that.
so this is funny because Hank did the best impersonation.
Did they screw up one of your areas?
No. So
You couldn't
you've
go fish without 'em.
You've got all these freshly flooded different types of bushes. Okay, you've got one specific type, and would you call that buckbrush?
Yeah.
Okay, you call it buckbrush, but it's got perfectly just little succulent green leaves on it.
Yeah.
Dude, you get on the right stretch, and what did you hear, Hank? Just constantly. Dude, it's like
Carp eating the leaves.
Baby
it's
over
like a
on their
baby
back.
sucking a
On
passy.
their back.
They would be sideways on their back. You get on the right bush stretch, and there'd be like 25 yellow carp, and all you'd hear is,
And you come back.
I'm dead serious.
You come back the next day.
I've never seen
and
that
all the leaves would be gone.
Dude, they
And
would,
they'd
they
be
would
floating.
milk a whole bush line.
Just
and
eat every leaf off.
Eat every
Yeah.
leaf off of it. And then they did, and I told Hank, and Hank was taking the same thing. I said, if we had a bow, Lord have mercy. Because it was clear, and you could burn them down.
And gar.
Did you ever see
gar
one
that looked like they were
carry-
as long as this table?
Yeah, there was giant gar.
Come by the boat.
Is that like
I
the
said,
alligator gar?
we wanted
No,
turtle.
I didn't see any alligator gar.
I don't know what
Just
they were. They were
regular
big. They were like I
long-nosed
want to
gar.
catch you size gar. They were big.
I did
Did you
have
ever
a
see
snake.
a carp carrying a bush across the lake?
I haven't seen that.
Like I've seen it at Santee before, so that's what.
When in his mouth, or was he hung?
Oh yeah, the big clumps of reeds.
yeah.
Like you'll be 200 yards away and you'll see a whole reed head just bobbing across the bay, and there'll be like a 6 foot long carp with one reed in his mouth, just carrying it.
Maybe he was making a nest.
He may have
Maybe
been. I
he was
don't know.
making a nest.
He's toting reeds around. I know that.
All right, colors. Cody Williams wants to know what the colors, our go-to colors were. My jig colors, I had two colors. One was kind of a bluegill color, a brown green pumpkin with a little blue in it, and then a kind of a green kind of a pumpkin with a green flake. I used that. I used the darker profile when it got a little bit dirtier, and dirty was like a foot visibility.
Yeah.
And then when it was crystal clear, like 2.5, 3 foot of visibility, I'd go to that green pumpkin, green flake. Frog colors were white and bluegill on the frog. So what were yours, Hank?
On my jerk bait, it was the stealth shad, and which is kind of in the market, I guess, is closer to a chartreuse shad than anything else.
Yeah.
That's just a good all-around color for throwing a jerk bait. And then, green pumpkin, blue, or like my stable, and everything else was
You sound like
mixed
Thrift.
like that. That's just if I don't think they're biting green pumpkin, I throw green pumpkin with a little bit of blue in it.
Okay.
And just go at it.
pretty
Hey, that
simple.
saves on weight in the boat and what I got to carry.
Make a big change from green pumpkin to green pumpkin blue flake. All right. Brandon McAllister wants to know, Hank, if at all, when did Hank know you might have won? You might have had the win.
I knew.
Probably when he climbed in my dang boat in the boatyard and started looking at my fish.
No, I got worried when we started checking your fish out because, Big Eye Canterbury was like,
Yeah,
that's a
Big Eye,
6-pounder.
yeah.
I was like, what messing with me? I didn't really know until you weighed in. When you weighed in, then I knew Bass Track was right, this, that, and the other, and it's good. But see, that's the part about our tournaments that I don't like
The stress.
any of it. No, not the stress. It's just the
Hank
the
deals with
stressful
stress
part. Hold on,
pretty good.
We'll stop. We'll talk about the tournament part. The stressful part of that deal was the drive
Yeah.
down to the lake
yeah.
and back.
We
Matt,
may-
how was that
we-
traffic?
We may or may not have talked
Oh,
on the way to the
guarantee
final
y'all did. I
weigh-in.
guarantee y'all did. They probably
Um,
stayed on the phone. I'm gonna tell you how this conversation went too. So they both pull out of the boatyard. They instantly call each other.
No,
No?
not at all.
Okay.
It was halfway on the trip, and let me tell you, so we have access to Bass Track. Nobody knows we're allowed to look at Bass Track once we've checked in.
Yeah.
This is how it went. I think you got it. No, you got it. There ain't no way. I got
Kinda.
it. You got it. No, you got it.
It was pretty similar to that.
That's how it went. I promise.
But I could not. So I looked at Bass Track, and somebody asked, and I'll answer two questions in one. Somebody asked, "Hey Matt, when did you know throughout the day, or did you think throughout the day that you had a shot at this thing?" And honestly, when the flotilla showed up, and Robbie Floyd showed up, and the drone never left for like 3 hours, I knew I was doing good. But yeah, it can be.
Oh, shotgun time.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to see if you can hit it with a cast, But I figured that I knew I had a good bag, but I was like, I got a good bag. I'm probably sitting around second or third place, making up some ground, and they're needing, a lot of good footage for the show because I'm getting a decent amount of bites. I said, Hank, you had 6 pounds something on me going into the final day. A couple other guys had 2 or 3 pounds on me, so I was like, I got a good day going, so they're getting a bunch of footage. I never thought that I actually was leading the Classic for a while there, and that's what I had no idea. Now, I did think that if I could get a 6-pound bite late in the day, that I might have a shot to win if I could break 20 pounds, but I knew that was my only hope. So when I got in the truck and I looked at Bass Track, and I've been through a lot of emotional situations fishing before, and y'all have too, both of you, big time. But I for 30 minutes, I called my wife, I couldn't even talk to her, and I was sick to my stomach, and I had a rough day, obviously with some missed fish, lost fish, whatever, but I knew Hank, and I know what Hank's capable of, and I knew Hank's a closer, obviously. He's won multiple events at that level, 2 Classics now. I know you want a top 50. I mean, not a top 50, but an all-star. Was it the all-star?
yeah.
The all-star deal you wanted. When Hank gets in a situation to win a tournament, he wins a tournament. And there's a difference to me in closers and then guys that, I don't want to say don't close. They just may not make the adjustments or have the confidence. And the 2 guys to my left are closers. And there's a difference in closers and non-closers. And if you watch fishing and follow fishing, you know the difference. And I don't have to sit there and explain it because, I don't want anybody pointing fingers or anything like that.
No.
But there's just a difference. And I can promise you there's a difference. And
Sometimes you can't screw it up.
that's right.
Like,
Sometimes
you just
screw it
can't
up.
do it. Like, I've won tournaments that I've tried my best not to win, and it just happens that way sometimes.
But talking about Matt and that ride he had, that feeling. I mean, I had that.
Yep.
I mean, I had an hour and 25 minutes from Grand back to Tulsa the whole time, just thinking everything you work for, you just let it swim away.
Well, and we're all men of faith and things like that. And
Oh yeah.
I came to peace pretty quick through that drive. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, as much as we hated that drive, I told Canterbury, I said it was a good thing we had an hour drive. It was a good thing we sat in the boatyard for an hour. For me, it was.
Yeah.
Now I don't know about you, but for me, it was. It was really good for me because if I had to go straight to the stage off the water, as soon as I had seen Bass Track and looked at everything,
Been hard to talk.
I would have something bad would have happened. I'd probably been rushed to the hospital or something. It was not good. So anyway, it was I didn't trim the legs on my frog. Oh, I've seen that comment like 17 times. But I probably could have walked it a little bit easier.
Thank you, loyal Let's Talk Fish
Thank
fans.
you, Lord. Let's talk. Whatever.
But me and Matt, we had a conversation. I mean, we did, and we're both the same way. I was like, dude, however this turns out,
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Well,
it.
it's
Of course, if
cool.
I would have lost, I'd have been sad. but I would have been happy for him at the same
Right.
time.
North Carolina
What about
just set the record.
Think about the fans here. Like, I wanted both of y'all to win, and I know a lot of people in this area were the same way.
Yeah.
Like, y'all made it hard on us too.
Well, no, I told. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right, I'm just,
No, I
just
told
wanting
Hank.
you to be aware.
I told Hank, and Hank was the same way. He said, "Look, man, if you win, I'll be happy for it if you win." And I I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot easier to lose to somebody like Hank than it would be others. I mean, that's just because I've known Hank for 20 years, not
Right.
because I don't like the other guys. It's like I've known Hank for 20 years.
Yeah,
He's from
we
North Carolina.
Fished together.
He represents
fished against each other.
Yeah, he represents what we're all about from North Carolina. And when you won this classic, and I think they announced it at the Champions Toast, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Chase said
Yeah.
that now North Carolina has become the state with the most Bassmaster Classic titles.
Yep.
Oh no, that's cool.
And that was cool.
That is cool.
That's cool. And I think is it 6 or 7? So you've got Kershaw,
Yeah.
Hank Parker twice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Fritz,
Yeah.
Hank twice.
Yeah.
I
That's 7.
feel like is that it?
That's it.
I don't. That may
Okay.
be.
So it's either
I
6
don't
or 7. And if we're leaving somebody out, forgive us. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
North Carolina, I've always bragged on this state, and not because I'm from here, but the lakes around here, the competition, and I did a couple podcast deals today, and I get this question asked a lot, like, what's in the water there? Why is there so many good fishermen from North Carolina? And
Because there's not much in the water, and we have to fish extra hard to catch them.
The fish sucks so bad, you got to be good.
you get that? Okay, so I know what I say to that question when I get asked. What's your answer to that question? And give us a full answer.
I think
Yeah, Kershaw was from Connecticut.
Oh.
our generation growing up.
He won at North Carolina. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think yourself, Brian, myself, when we come up fishing, we didn't show up on a Saturday and we didn't have the right to complain about who was fishing in the tournament against us.
No.
There was no arguing. You either paid your money and fished or you went home. And we all spent several years getting destroyed.
Oh, I still get.
Remember when they had
I still get destroyed here.
when they used to like that big huge 1 ounce spot at Wiley, and you
Oh,
could go
yeah.
catch what you want off the docks, but they were going to catch 30 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't. Wiley's a shell of what it used to be, and that's a whole nother story. But I think we came up hard fishing. I mean, I still remember the first time when I met Brian. He had like a 16.5-foot Astro,
Oh yeah.
little
That's what
video
I-
thing.
We both had an Astro. That
Yeah.
was our first boat.
little bitty thing.
Yep.
And I think
Mine was 18 foot, by the way.
I think as we grew.
I always got to outdo me. He's always got to outdo me.
I think as we grew as anglers and got more competitive and our circles got a little tighter, we knew people and we started learning a little more, learning from ourselves.
And guys quit lying and telling each other the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, I've always told you that. That's the best thing to do around the house. If you just
tell the
I
truth.
caught him on a jerkbait and they're like, he's lying.
Yeah, that's exactly
He's a
right.
dig. Because they're so used to so used to bullcrapping each other. Just look at them and tell them the truth, and then you ain't got to worry about
100%.
changing your story.
Just tell them the truth. Hell, tell them what creek you caught him in.
Except for
There
like,
you going.
when you go with Brian and you've been out there practicing all day, like, man, it was tough. We only got like 2 bites. I'm like, Brian, you shook off like 40 feet.
No, I don't.
It was so,
don't
Hank, it's
shake 'em
so
off.
bad, dude. You know what I'm talking about? When we first started fishing out there at Moss Lake together, he'd be fishing in the front of the boat, and I'd be the back, and he'd be throwing a frog, and he'd catch one, and be like, Brian, what'd you catch that one? And be like,
Nah.
buzz bait.
They're making up stuff.
No, but I think still the local level competition around
Michael
here,
is
every
exactly
time you
right.
show up is impressive.
You got to catch them. You got to earn it.
We have some guys that can fish. I mean, they don't do what we do for a living for whatever the reason be, but we have some local talent, some guys that can
I
really
think that's
catch them.
everywhere in the country, though. I mean, bass fishing's gotten so popular now that I think that's pretty much everywhere in the country. Like to me, it's as hard to win a big local tournament as it is, a Bass Pro Tour and Elite event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a one-day event is one of the most challenging
Right,
events to win,
exactly.
period.
Like I've never won a BFL. Have you ever won one?
No.
Hank?
Yeah,
I know
won like
that's one. Of course
6
he has.
of them, but
Did you just say 6?
6 or 7.
Have you? Okay, I'm going to try to one up Hank. You ever won an AOY title in the BFLs?
nope.
Got him.
I'm not. I said this before, and I was asked this question today. I'm not an AOY kind of fisherman, I don't think. Because, I mean, you can give me that rabbit hole, and I'll go down and make a canyon and go down in flames because it's just that's
the
just
same
the
way.
way I am.
Yeah. No, I Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what I said about Hank a minute ago. He's a closer, dude. Like, he's a closer.
You talk about winning. I mean, look, New gets on the elite first tournament.
Yep.
He wins.
New had a sweet comment.
And then he breaks his hand in the parking lot, walks to his trailer.
I saw that.
New had so I got to tell one on New. So since he said
God.
something smart about me in the comments, because he said, "Hey Matt, I said over a year ago, I hope you finish second in the Classic." You remember that? He was on the show because
I do
he wanted to
remember that.
win and
I
he wanted me to
remember
finish
that.
second. He said, "I hope you finish." He said, "I hope you do well, but I hope you finish
Hey,
second."
but on top of that, I told New on stage in Florida this year, I said, you can have that silver one. I'm going to keep collecting those gold ones.
Take that, New. So we're this is our off day.
Oh, Lord.
I got we have a somewhat of an off day. It was Tuesday, I believe. We moved into our
Monday we moved in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I found this little breakfast joint and we decided to walk to it. It was myself, Austin Felix, New, and his wife Brittany.
Wow, what a crowd.
Austin
Is a special
It's
character.
a crowd. Poor Austin didn't get to say like one word the whole morning.
He doesn't talk much.
But-
He only says like one a day.
Yeah, he didn't have those plaid pants on. See, I thought he slept in those pants. I thought they were pajama pants. But
That's
when he
his
had them
uniform,
on,
Bob.
when he had them, I know. When he had them on at Blast Off, I said, "Man," I said, "I ain't trying to be weird." I said, "But are those really pajama pants?" And I grabbed them and rubbed the bottom of them like that a little bit, and they're like silk, dude. They're like golf pants, like really high end golf pants.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that.
See,
until
that's sweet.
Yeah, and so
I like it.
do you know why he does that? So he's got it on his jersey. He's got the little flannel design on his jersey. He's got it on his boat.
Right.
You know why he does that?
No, I have no
Because
idea.
he's a huge Harry
Harry
Potter
Potter,
fan.
buddy.
I didn't know.
He listens to Harry Potter books going up and down the highway.
Yeah, so what's the relation with that pattern in Harry Potter?
I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Okay, well,
We'd
it's
have to get
something to do
Austin
with
on the
Harry
phone.
Potter. Anyway,
There you go.
No clue.
so we decide to walk, and it's like 0.8 miles, and they're already complaining after we get like 0.2 miles. And we have to go through we have to go under this overpass, and there's a tunnel. You know, the road's going under the tunnel, and there's a little sidewalk with a rail, you know, like in a subway system kind of. And we go down the sidewalk, and there's it's sad. There's a little homeless person down there sleeping. And anyway, we go through that side. We go eat breakfast, big breakfast. It was good. And we come back, and we come down the other side of the tunnel. And Austin and I are walking in the front, and dude, something was bad, smelled really bad in this tunnel. And Brittany and New were walking behind us. Now, Brittany's a nurse. Brittany's an RN, so she's seen it all. And we get to the end of the tunnel, and as soon as Austin and I kind of hit the light, we hear, and I look back. Sorry for the noise, but I look back.
How'd that go again?
I look back. It was bad, dude. I'm not. And we look, and Austin.
It had to be New.
It was New.
Yeah,
it was 100%
I knew
new.
it. I knew it.
And what we were smelling, by the way, was a pile of human. Yeah.
Ooh, that's
And
nasty.
we passed it. And Austin and I were just like, "Oh my God, it's horrible." You know, we keep walking, and New like it just hits him, and he stops like a foot from it, 2 feet from whatever. Stop, and he just starts puking his breakfast up, dude. And he throws his breakfast up.
Why didn't he just keep going?
And I'm like, Austin's like, "Is he really throwing up?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And of course, Brittany, you can imagine what Brittany
Oh,
said.
yeah.
She's picking on him. She's
Yeah,
railing him.
she's
and,
probably giving
and
him a hard
New's just
time.
leaning up against the wall. And I mean, he left his breakfast in there with that pile of poop.
I feel bad for whoever was next to walk through the tunnel.
Oh yeah,
So-
that would be double
So
bad.
what's
I
the-
didn't even think about that.
What's the story with New walking to get his trailer and breaking his hand?
I don't know exactly
does
what
that-
happened.
He
man.
told me the story. I don't remember it word for word, but it was something about he was walking around his truck or somebody else's truck at the ramp and slipped and fell and just landed wrong or something. That's what I think. That's how it went. New, forgive me if I described it wrong.
No,
but
when New's not here, and Scott Fell said, or excuse me, Rick Moore said, "Brian, I keep telling them you need to be there to defend yourself." But when he makes a comment, and he's not here to defend himself, he's getting it. Oh, look, he just actually made a little emoji in the feed with the green face, like sick face. He's probably throwing up again just talking about it.
oh god, this is
Neil,
getting funny.
Neil Paul, read it, Brian. Since it's new, you know.
Oh, Lord.
Neil Paul, our good buddy down at Visit Anderson,
Yeah.
who we've had on the show
and
before.
he's New's good buddy also.
Yes.
We didn't have to tell him
He
that.
jabbed him pretty good.
Said I've marshaled for New twice. He said he's a good dude, but he's definitely different. We all love New. We all love New. There's only one New, I promise you. All right, let's jump into a few. Actually, let's pause for a minute. All right, so we didn't say this earlier. If y'all remember on the 100th episode,
Oh yes.
we gave away a fishing trip to the winner of the trivia question that night. I don't even remember what the trivia question was. You remember what the trivia question was? I remember. Chris, all right, so we have in the studio, they just came in this afternoon, drove all the way from Nebraska. Chris and his buddy Ryan are down here for the fishing trip. The fishing trip is tomorrow, but we have some really cool stuff that we've put together to give them on the show tonight. And Brian and I are going to go get that right now. So, Jeff, you might actually have to talk into the mic for a minute while we're gone.
Jeff's going to hold down the fort.
Let Hank do it. But Jeff and
We're
Hank,
not on the camera anymore. They're live.
Jeff,
on the show.
they're live. Okay,
They're
so
live
Chris
in
and
the
Ryan, y'all
studio.
wave
Wait
to the
till
camera
the
over there. Y'all say hey, and we're going to go out to the truck and we're going to get y'all's goodies and come back in here.
I'm from Iowa, by the way.
I thought Matt screwed that up.
So what? Tell us about the drive from Iowa. So what was it like driving? How long was the drive? And
So we decided to drive instead of fly because we like to see the country. And I actually did move from Iowa to Nebraska, and so Ryan and I haven't been able to hang out and fish much lately. So we decided to drive instead of fly, and we were able to see all of the beautiful country that we live in here. So we decided to go down to Memphis, a little bit out of our way on the first day of the trip. We want to go to that crazy Bass Pro Shops out there that's in the pyramid. So we went in there, walked around, bought some stuff we didn't need, and had a good time there. Walked around downtown Memphis. It was pretty cool downtown there. And that was what, like 12, 13-hour drive.
12
or so.
hours to Memphis and then about 8 hours to here today.
Right. And then we stayed over in Memphis, drove in here today. Unbelievable, seeing North Carolina, Tennessee. Absolutely beautiful. Driving through tunnels and mountains. Where we're from, it's pretty flat. A lot of cornfields, a lot less trees. So it was pretty cool to come down through this part of the country, through the mountains.
Yep, great. It was a great drive. I mean, it was a 20-hour drive, but it didn't really seem like it. It went pretty fast, so it was fun.
All right, so I don't know how well y'all can hear me.
you have to talk loud.
Since we don't have a microphone, but we have all kinds of goodies, sponsored products, things like that. So we've got loose rods, hypermag reels. Now, just for reference, I know Chris is the winner, and there's a whole bunch of good stuff that we're going to give it all to him. Y'all decide how to set it up. Okay? But we've got TX Marine products, we've got two-way boat alarm, tackle tighten, all kinds of lunker hunt goodies, P-line, TCB braid. Like I said, we've got the luge rod reel. It's a hypermag reel, custom pro rod, same type of stuff that I use out there. And Brian's, there you go, there's your luge man right here anyway. And Brian's got all kinds of goodies over there too. And Bass Mafia bag. It's all in the Bass Mafia money bags.
Same. Got 2 Bass Mafia bags here, filled to the brim with the meaty tackle. We've got hard baits, all the soft baits, everything I like to throw.
There's got to be stingers in there.
That's our stingers. We
I need to
got
put them in my car.
3-inch stingers, 4-inch stingers, 5-inch stingers, and the new 6-inch stingers.
It's got 5 different sizes of stingers.
He's gonna sting them.
Signature Series 7-4 cranking rod for Fitzgerald fishing. Having Garcia reel, you gotta have that best reel on the market. And a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses. Plus, everybody needs new pair of Costa sunglasses.
Well, now I can already tell you who's getting the Abu reel and who's getting the luge reel. Hence the hat deal.
That's right.
We're gonna convert.
We Hurricane Hall. Congratulations.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, really glad y'all could make it. We're gonna have some fun tomorrow. Matt tells me neither one of y'all have ever caught a spotted bass.
Never caught a spot.
That's the plan.
No spots in Iowa.
We are going to catch some spotted bass tomorrow, I guarantee you.
It'll be fun.
And we wanted to give y'all that stuff tonight so y'all could fight over it and wrestle
Right,
or whatever.
exactly.
You know. But anything, if y'all want to bring any of that stuff tomorrow, you're more than welcome. But we will have plenty of stuff in the boat, rigged and ready to go out there and catch them. Stingers and more stingers. That's what Brandon McAllister said.
Exactly.
All right. I hope everybody could hear us when we were over there. I know we didn't have a microphone over there, but we are excited about getting out on the water with these guys. And they came a long way, and we appreciate that. And congrats again to both of you.
Yes. We're going to break personal best spotted bass records.
Guaranteed.
Without a
Guaranteed.
doubt.
And we may even throw a little, I don't know, a little tournament together or something.
All right, we'll do a tournament as well.
And then Friday morning, they're heading to the coast, and they're going to catch some redfish and trout.
Oh yeah, so I forgot about that.
that's
So
nice.
While they're down south, we might as well give it
That is
give it all
very
we
good.
can.
our boy JW over here, Jeff Walsh, has set up a redfish and speckled trout trip for them on Friday morning. So they're going to go from here to the coast. And I knew that was a possibility, but I didn't know it was for sure. And that's pretty cool. So they're going to have they're going to kill two birds with one stone and do a little saltwater fishing and freshwater fishing while they're down this way.
3 new species for us.
There you go.
So
That's
so
awesome.
neither one
That's
of you ever
awesome.
caught a redfish or a speck. All right, y'all drove
that's
here,
good
so you got a
times.
cooler. Y'all got a cooler.
Yeah, you
All
get
right.
the cooler.
Y'all like to eat fish? All right.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Because reds and trout are pretty darn good eating. All right, so we got, how much time do we have? by
We
the
got
way?
about 15 minutes left.
About 15 minutes. I know there's a bunch of questions on here. Hank, have you seen anything that you wanted to address, or is your feed even working?
It like starts working, then it goes about halfway through, and it just loads up for some reason. I don't know. I think
Now,
I've
Ryan-
gotten a couple requests.
Ryan's one of our biggest viewers, and he said if we should allow them to trade out Matt or Smoke for Hank on tomorrow's fishing trip. I'm just going to
they
take
may
a
wanna
stab
go for that.
Hank's probably fairly busy tomorrow. Just going to throw that out there. But anyway, I don't worry, Eric. I'm not going to give the trivia answer away tonight,
Possibly. There's still a slight chance.
even though
Still
Jeff
a slight
actually
chance.
came up with a trivia question. It's really good and it's really funny. So
I don't even like you talking about trivia. Just
I've been on the show 2 other times, and both times he gave it away.
Ooh, ooh.
really,
Yeah.
I don't remember either one. All right, let me scroll back through.
One cool thing is Matt talked about his favorite candy, and Jeff got
yeah.
3
I was on the
bags
last show. I
for
think I
him.
ordered
Try
last
one of
show.
those things,
Yeah.
whatever they
What
are.
flavor you want?
I don't have
The
any
last
idea what that
show-
is.
Blue. That's
Full
what, that was Matt's
disclosure,
favorite.
I ordered
blue.
400 count bags, and one of them's at my house. I've been crushing it.
They are
good.
pretty
Oh, Leslie
good.
was telling
They
me
are
about
pretty
that
good.
yesterday. She said, "Yeah, those Zots." I think she said she really liked them, didn't she? Yes, Jeff.
I like
I was reading a comment.
Yeah, obviously. Tell y'all, listen. Nobody listens to me ever,
Huh?
huh? Yeah.
Say what?
But Jeff ordered 4 100 bags of Zots, so we'll be eating Zots for a while. And you couldn't take it. You couldn't take it any longer. And actually, Ronnie and Chris had their first Zots tonight. What y'all think? Honestly, I mean, if you didn't like them,
I think I had my first
You
one
like-
tonight, too. Let's just all have one.
I've never even heard of a Zot.
That one's empty.
So Matt, I do got one thing for you don't know about.
uh-oh.
Ronnie Moore
Love
yesterday
Zots?
morning, no, was going to head into work. Got stung by and attacked by some wasp, and his body went into a shock, and they had to run him to the hospital yesterday morning.
Ronnie Moore?
Good gracious.
Is he okay?
He's fine. He's out of it now, but he said he's been stung numerous times his whole life, and
He
that
never
got
had a
him.
reaction.
It
So
was bad.
He'll be now carrying an EpiPen.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
definitely,
So-
100%.
So apparently that's an allergy that you can develop
Mhm,
as
I
you
guess.
get older, huh?
Yeah.
That's
He
so-
said
I
it was
know
a very
people that
scary
have-
moment.
That have developed shellfish allergies like later in life.
Later in life.
Never been allergic to them, and then just all of a sudden they're allergic.
So, Ronnie, we're glad you're okay, buddy. I had no idea. Hank, thanks for letting us know that. But yeah, that's scary because bee
Gotta look
stings.
after Ronnie. Ronnie's a good dude.
Yeah, absolutely, and bee stings can be deadly. I mean, it happens. What's wrong with you, Jeff?
That was a lot of Zot. Here's my whole mouth up.
Are you supposed to chew it?
I just
I don't know.
I just suck all the stuff out of the hole and let it blow up in my mouth. Then I chew it.
Do you know a Stephen Basinger?
Yes.
Okay. He just wanted you to know that now is probably a pretty good time to remember that you owe him some baits for all the ones that you've lost of his.
I have lost some of his days.
All right. Well, we know for a fact, and so does the rest of the country that watches our show, he has plenty to give you, Stephen.
Yes.
So if he doesn't, lose them tomorrow. But hopefully that's not going to be the case.
Here's a good question revolving around the classic. James Bryant wants to know, were you using your electronics to see the fish you were catching on the jerkbait?
I did for some, but the problem with these fish were it wasn't like it was 50 degrees and they were sitting still. They were constantly swimming. So by the time you get a cast to them, they were swimming off. But it let me know the presence of them there.
There you go.
All right. That's a good question. We talked a little bit about, well, I didn't talk about it, but I gotta give some credit where some credit's due. Talking about the trip coming back from the Classic, and obviously it was probably a little different for me than it was for Hank. I just have to, I got to be honest. But that was a lot of things went through my mind. But when I pulled in the driveway, and I don't think you knew about this, when I pulled in my driveway yesterday afternoon, it's 15 and a half hours roughly for us to get back. I pulled in my driveway yesterday afternoon, and I get down the driveway, and we have a long gravel driveway, and I get kind of over that last little rise before you can see the house, in the driveway. And I've got about 15 close friends and their kids and stuff there with a banner that's 30 feet long stretched across the driveway saying "Welcome home, Matt." And it stopped me in my tracks. Yeah. Because
when did you start tearing up? At what part in your driveway?
I stopped in the driveway, and that was enough to make a grown man cry, because it was the support that we get. And I won't Hank to talk about that, because I know your wife, and I know
I had the exact same similar situation, so I had to fake backing in like 3 times so my eyes could clear up.
Look, if you can make Hank Cherry cry, you've done something. I can promise you that. Yeah.
Dude, bass fishing and my family, that's the 2 things that can bring it to tears.
So none of us up here could ever even consider, because what's the most important thing? It's not when you have a good tournament, it's when you have a bad tournament. Mm-hmm. And to not have anybody there to lean on or to talk to, and Brian and I, we've talked about this during the whole show, and we're all very lucky with the women in our lives, obviously. But talk about how important that support is, Hank.
Yeah, Allie's talked me out of quitting several times.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go to rehab if you quit fishing.
I can't help but laugh.
That's the type of pressure we put on ourselves. And when you have a bad event, like, you don't just think about, I don't just think about myself. Like, I had a bad event. I think about, my family, obviously, because I'm trying to support them. And, I feel like I've let them down and all this too. And it's nice to have that reassurance that, everything's not going to be fine. Everybody's going to have slip-ups. You're never going to win every tournament you fish. There's absolutely no possible way. And that's what I guess we're all kind of talking about, just having your family support, to know they're on your side and you've got somebody that loves you no matter what the outcome is. That's the biggest thing to me in bass fishing.
Yeah, I pulled in the driveway. Drake Sturgill had rode back with me. He's just a family that I met by happen chance that actually followed me to my house one day because I was their son's favorite fisherman. They got out of the car and we just became friends. So we come pulling down the road and Drake's like, "What is that?" I was like, "Did you know about this?" Because I knew he had texted my wife, but he's like, "I didn't know anything. I know nothing." But, they're all there and they're cheering and ringing the cowbell and got fat heads. And
that's awesome. There ain't nothing better.
But, just having their support and – the best part about Jacqueline is, and I kind of know yours the same way, I guarantee his is the same way, is she will not hesitate at all to jerk a knot in my butt and pull me out of a pity pot and is like, "Okay, it's done, so what are you going to do now?" She will not hesitate, and that I can say you can't say enough about. And just knowing, they just give you that thing that, it's going to be okay. It's hard for us to accept the failure part of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But it's even harder sometimes for us to accept that we did our best, even when we don't win or it doesn't work out the way we want. I think, but that's the competitor in all 3 of us, that you have such a high expectation of your talents and what you do, that when you don't reach that expectation that you set in your head, which sometimes, truthfully, it's not attainable. You're just not going to happen. You're not going to catch every fish. Everything's not going to go your way. But just having that support system with family and parents and friends and all, that's irreplaceable in this sport.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. My best friend's wife, good friend of ours, Amy, she just commented that she said, "Dude, Zots are so overrated."
She did not. She didn't like them too good.
She didn't like them, did she?
Pretty good.
So that might have been Amy's first Zot.
I don't want my kids getting a hold of them. They'll be zotting off the wall everywhere. But
yeah, that would probably be a little. Yeah, that would be definitely a little extra boost there. I see Mercer's on the. He's peeking in on us tonight.
That's a good question.
So
there.
What you got anything for Mercer, Hank?
No, I already spent my morning with Mercer this morning.
Okay.
I had to get out of bed early to talk to Mercer this morning. We had a good chat, good conversation.
He was telling, he was thanking Ronnie for not dying.
That's a good thing.
in the
is
comments.
a good
Yeah,
thing.
I mean that was, yeah. So yeah, no, seriously, Ronnie, we know that's a scary situation. I couldn't imagine not knowing you have an allergy to bees and then getting stung and then like, what's happening to me, you know? And then
I think there was a whole set of circumstances, like he couldn't get his keys and couldn't get back, so he had to call Sarah to come get him, and it was just like a whole big thing.
oh, wow,
Scary
Well,
times.
Ronnie, we glad you're all right, brother, and we'll see you soon up north. Did y'all see somebody was getting ready to say something?
I
Ryan
seen
was.
it wasn't really a question, it was more of a comment, but I think we could turn it into a good question.
Okay, you do that.
Stephen Guthrie said, Hank wins the Classic, now has to take G-Man and Lulu on vacation. Is that true?
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Canterbury won the ALY title and had to take me deer hunting.
Jacqueline was
remember
walking
that.
through. Jacqueline was walking through the expo, and Gerald had his flock like he usually has around him, and she went up and gave him a hug and scooted off, and he said, "Hold on a minute, that's Hank Cherry's wife," and she got embarrassed, and he said, "You tell Hank if he wins, we're going back to Mexico on vacation, and he's paying." And she said, "Okay."
Well,
She
that-
volunteered. You
I
got to
mean,
do it
I
now.
mean,
So-
you're kind of locked in there.
G called me. He's like, "I don't expect you to take me back on vacation, but I got a place we need to go." We went with him one time to Mexico, and I know everybody on here has heard Swindle talking and been around him, but like that's just not for the camera. It's 24/7, never ever stops. I mean, for the longest time,
It's a good time.
And I'm his buddy, and I still, for the longest time, thought he had like a ghostwriter, like, and he had to read these quotes before he went out. But they just fly off the top of his head. He is really, he's a good friend, and inspiration. He's been doing this a long time the right way.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. So real quick, Carson wants to know how many text messages we both got. So I don't know the number. I know I had like 130 something the night after the weigh-in, and the next day I was able to get back to everybody, but I didn't count them, so I don't know.
I haven't gotten back, but this morning I woke up because I couldn't sleep, and I started sending them back at like 6:10, and then I thought about it after about 30 minutes. I was like, "Damn, I'm waking everybody up." But I'm gonna get back to everyone. I'm gonna get back to
That's what we
everyone.
should've done. We
If
should have got
you're
up at
getting
3:30 the next morning and started responding to all
But
of
if
them.
you're getting a text
They're all
from
friends
the,
anyway.
the two-time Classic champion, probably doesn't. They probably don't care.
Doesn't matter what
is.
time it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what time it is.
Oh, you mean if it's coming from Hank, doesn't matter if it's 2:30 in the morning or.
Yeah, but you
4:15.
could probably get away with 6, but Hank, anytime.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't answer that, and that is much appreciated, by the way. I mean, I did get some texts from some numbers that, that I didn't recognize, but a lot of them were some of my marshals over the years. I mean, that support, no matter who it's from, is vital to what we do, and all the Instagram messages, all the Facebook messages we get. We appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. I think I'm speaking for everybody when I say
Definitely.
that,
Oh yeah.
'cause that's a big deal. All right, well, we got time for one or two. Oh, I wanted to mention this. I saw this comment on here, and this is a great question from Adam Foster, and I think Adam's a pretty long time viewer of the show. Hank, how did it feel getting the trophy from Tripp Weldon? Everybody knows Tripp's been battling cancer, and he's retiring, but he came back for the Classic one last time, one last deal before he officially is done being the weighmaster for BASS, and came in, cowboy hat and all, and did the weigh-in the entire time. How did it feel getting the trophy from Tripp on his last tournament?
It felt real good. It's like Jacqueline said. She said, last year with COVID, she said, I kind of look at this as was the way it was supposed to happen, because I had a history with Tripp. He was a great, great person. He meant a lot to the sport of bass fishing. But she said for him to be able to walk out by handing you that trophy and you to get an actual clean year with it, with, no pandemic or anything, she said, I just think it was just kind of, fitting. And to see a smile on his face, and he told me he loved me. Because, I promise you, Tripp is the fairest guy in bass fishing.
Yeah.
But I promise you, we had back and forth plenty of times, because we look at it and people don't understand about tournament directors how they have to be, but we're fishermen. So on one side we got the business side, the other side we got the fishing side, and when it's go time, we're always going to side on the fishing time.
Dude, and at that level, I pity those tournament directors because I know what they deal with.
It's bad.
People like Bryan Thrift and Hank Cherry, and I mean, it's it's bad. It's a big deal. So, no, in all honesty, we tip our hat to you, Tripp.
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, he's
I mean, that
he's
was-
a great dude.
and it takes a lot of courage and a lot of patience to be a tournament director on any level, but at that level, I mean, there's so much on the line, and these guys are so passionate and so competitive. And you can only imagine some of the things that he had to deal with over the years.
I calls a few of them, so I know.
Well, there you go. There you go. See, I wasn't lying when I said Hank Cherry, but no, we appreciate everything, and I've only been over at Bass for, this is my third season, but I saw real quick when I came over that Tripp was one of a kind as far as tournament directors go.
That's for sure.
And he doesn't take any crap, and doesn't let anybody get away with anything.
But now our new one's doing a fine job.
Lisa, absolutely. Lisa Talmadge, she's doing a phenomenal job. Hank Weldon, of course, Hank does a good job. Chris Bowes with the Opens. The whole crew was down there at the Classic, and everybody with Bass did a great job. It was a great show. The expo I heard was really booming. I know it was very busy. Fort Worth, Texas, always been a good place to have a bass tournament. I mean, anytime we've ever been in Texas for any bass tournament,
Yeah, anybody.
they show out. Like Texas lives and breathes our sport. And
If we could get the rest of the state's parks and wildlife to
be like Texas
mirror
Parks and Wildlife.
Texas,
Oh man,
Yeah,
bass
it'd
fishing would be
it'd be
phenomenal.
amazing.
That, I think Mercer said it on stage that, they are the crown jewel
Yeah.
of parks and wildlife in the U.S.
Yeah,
And
that's a fact. Like I think every lake in Texas, you've legit got a chance to catch a 10-pounder.
100%. Yeah,
Every single one of them.
100%.
Even if the lake sucks, you still got a chance.
You still
to
got
catch
a
10
chance, definitely.
So, yes, James Bryan asked. So I've got to talk about that real quick. He said, Matt, I noticed that rod you were frogging with still had a new barcode sticker on the butt of it. Was it not broken in, or you just used more? So what happened? I talked about this a little bit on live, but I don't think it actually aired. Lou's launched a brand new signature series at the Classic. So they launched it at the Classic. The signature series consisted of some Mark Zona did some stuff, smallmouth stuff mainly. Van Dam did some stuff. I believe Andy Montgomery's got a skipping rod. Hackney did some stuff, and I think Mark Rose did a couple offshore rods. The rod that I was using that final day was Hackney's Frog, new signature frog rod. It's a 7.3 heavy. The rest of the plastic was taken off. It was just on that bottom split grip, the butt of the rod. So that's what you saw. But I got those rods shipped to me literally the day I left for the Classic. And I threw some of them in the coffin, and I tried them out during practice to test them a little bit. But that 7.3 heavy frog rod is a pretty legit frog rod. Obviously, I was using it the final day. But that's to answer your question, they've launched a new signature line. They launched it at the Classic, and they are available to purchase now. All right, I did not sport a cowboy hat. Did you sport your cowboy hat? You didn't sport it during the tournament.
They don't make cowboy hats big enough for my head. I think I got a couple of free ones, and I won when I put it on, but I look like Spanky from Little Rascal with a little bean on top of my head.
What size like fitted hat do you wear, Hank?
The biggest they make.
But
So like if I bought like a new air hat or something like a baseball, it'd probably be 7.75 to 8.
they make an 8. I guess they do make an 8, don't they?
Man, don't.
Cause your brain's
My head's big, but
'Cause
the
your
rest of my
brain's so
body's pretty
big.
big too, so don't look so disproportional.
All right, let's take time out. Let's do 2 more questions. Let me just get over back to the trivia. No, don't freak out because I said trivia. The trivia question that Jeff's going to ask here in just a little bit. The special giveaway tonight. We have a Let's Talk Fish signed by yours truly, Mr. Bryan Thrift and Hank Cherry, that we're going to send to the winner tonight. So that is the
And some
prize.
Zots.
And yeah, let's throw in
Wait,
some
Jeff's
Zots.
already said we
A
weren't
whole
giving
bag of
away-
Zots?
A whole bag of
They
Zots.
might not like them.
I don't really want to eat 300.
Zot.
I can eat 300, so don't give away all the
Well,
Zots.
you've
Okay,
got
no.
a bag and a half.
Okay,
and then
if you wanna
the
give
winner
away the
can
bag.
have a
Bag of Zots.
And a bag of Zots. We're going to give away a bag of Zots. All right, bag of Zots. I get a little defensive over my Zots, man. But so somebody said that y'all were about to lose it when Jeff was describing Zots.
I'm not describing it again.
No.
I missed this.
It was pretty-
Y'all going to make me go
Pretty
watch
funny.
I almost spit Zots all over the table. Just so you know.
Y'all going to make me go back and watch a show just so I can see
Hank's face was priceless.
Jeff's description of a Zot. I missed it. Completely missed it. All right. Let's take one or two more questions, Brian. You want to find one, and I'll find one.
Yeah, we'll see what we got here.
Is anybody back on the Uncle? This isn't. We won't count this as a question, but Scott Pitlick wants to know if anybody's back on the Uncle Josh kick. Are they back making pork?
I don't know.
I think they're making some kind of pork / plastic, but well, long as I throw the max scent and the power bait, I'm good.
Here's a good question that I've experienced also from Jimmy Durham. Hank, has your son sold any of the confetti yet?
Yeah, he actually sold some to Bruce Aiken.
Wait,
Bruce bought some from him.
so he was gathering
So
up
he's-
confetti to sell it from the classic.
That's
So he
an
gathered it on the
entrepreneur right
stage,
there.
and Dave said, "Christian, what are you going to do with all that confetti?" He said, "I'm going to sell it and make some money."
That's
We might
That's
have
legit
us a
right
buyer.
there.
We might have us a salesperson that we could hire.
He was.
I like it. I had no idea that happened.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Very cool. All right, let's grab a couple more questions, and then we're gonna call it a night. We're gonna take Ryan and Chris out to dinner tonight. Get them into bed so we can go out and catch some spotted bass tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. All right, North Carolina guys. Oh, Matt Tuttle agreed with us. He said fishing's so bad in North Carolina we can kill it in other states.
Jacob Scoggins says he wants to go and fish with Jeff.
When tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, our boy Bruce Gallup wants to know what he needs to do to fish with Hank. Well, Hank's price just went up a little bit this week, Bruce, especially for you. He told me earlier he was charging $4,500 an hour or something like that. It's not bad for somebody of your status, but you know,
he
you might
might
learn a
can
thing.
talk Christian into giving away a piece of confetti too with that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
For that rate,
Maybe.
he'll throw in some confetti from the classic
And a
that
bag of
actually
Zots.
touched Hank's body when it came down. So, you know, what you can put that in a little jar and frame it, whatever. All right. So why no follow? Oh, okay. So I saw this question earlier. Why no follow-up bait when frogging? I'm not going to say I normally don't use it. In the situation that I was in at the Classic, I had tried it a little bit the previous day with no luck whatsoever. I felt like the problem with those fish, they were hitting that frog coming through that grass, and it was more of an open water situation, and they'd hit it so hard and so fast that they were usually a long way away, or they would sit back down and they wouldn't hit anything.
Well,
So
you actually hooked most of them too.
and most of them were
Yeah.
actually hooked, or they were barely hooked and lost really quick or something like that. So, yeah, and Brian's correct. I didn't have a lot of fish like blow it out of the water and completely miss it. I had a lot of little ones try to suck it down and things like. Actually, I take it back. I did catch one on a follow-up bait day before it was 12 inches long, and I caught it on a wacky worm. But my wife said that Bella snuck her some confetti also.
Ooh, she got free confetti.
Bill.
We're all right.
Bill in the mail.
While we're grabbing one more question, Hank, you got to sign the sign back here while you're on the air.
Oh, it's a new sign now.
We got a new sign, yeah. We don't even know where the other banner is. We think Jeff sold it on
Sign
eBay
it
or
on the
something.
green fish so we can see it really good. On the green fish.
Yeah.
That way everybody can
When we were
see
talking
it.
about Classic Champs, somebody said we forgot Fat Cat back in he
87,
won
I believe.
three
He won
in
two
1
in
year.
87.
2 in 87. That's what it was. 2 in 87. Our main flipping baits. I'll say mine while Hank's finishing up there. I was using a 1/2 ounce jig. It's a signature jig that I've got with Titan Tungsten, and unfortunately they're not available yet. It's a prototype jig. It's got a 3/0 Gamakatsu jig hook in it, and I like that smaller hook. Still a pretty heavy gauge hook and a strong hook, but I like that smaller hook because I just feel like it pins them a little bit better. I was using the Tungsten because it's more compact and I like the profile a little bit better, but I flipped that jig primarily all week. It's the only jig I flipped. And then I was frogging on top of that. I'd never really flipped a Texas rig creature bait or anything like a lot of the guys were doing. I don't know how many people were actually flipping a jig. I know my roommate Canterbury was, but a lot of guys that I saw were flipping Texas rigs or throwing a swim jig or throwing some kind of moving bait. And when they'll eat a jig for me, I'm going to flip a jig because I was trying to catch the biggest fish in the lake. And I got confidence in flipping a jig. So, Hank, I know you were...
Picasso straight shooter jig, made it big.
So you were flipping a jig also?
Yeah, I was throwing a big one.
Okay.
I used several different crawls. I mean, that back scent sugar crawl was one of the things that I used.
Okay.
Generic crawl was sold around the house. I just wanted to slow it down and come through because in my head, everybody was throwing that big weight and it was flying through the
Yeah.
bushes. I wanted something to just kind of like, tempt them to come eat.
Right.
That Pit Boss is just a good bait. And then
That's like similar to like a beaver creature style bait, right? Yeah.
It got a little
But
more movement
the
to it.
max scent.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
And then just a little teeny crawl that I always keep in the boat. That's what I broke out. But I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I don't think. I just, like I said, the key to me was just having that one stretch nobody else was fishing.
Yeah, and that was hard to find. And
I still got to give you props on the downsizing the 15-pound line.
Now, hey, you could attest this. 10 years ago, I would have never done it.
Right. That's what amazed me because yes, we've both fished with Hank for a long time, and we know he wants the big stick 20-pound line. That's his go-to. But to make that adjustment, and probably the only guy the last day of the Classic to make that adjustment and downsize to 15-pound line to flip bushes with.
I'm the dumbest fish in the lake.
Brave.
He could break me off any way he wants to go, but he's like,
it worked.
what's that big black thing floating? Let's just go check it out.
Go get under the shade of that boat. That looks nice.
Did you have a NASCAR Ranger?
I did.
So Brad White just asked who owns that Ranger. Do you know who owns it now?
I have no idea.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
I remember that Ranger when they made. You remember that Ranger?
Oh, yeah.
Ryan? Had flames on it.
I did.
Yeah. All right.
NASCAR logo on it too.
Tyler Thompson wants to know if you've been carp fishing lately.
I have not been, but as soon as these next two northern events are done, I'm going somewhere.
Ryan Sowers, yes. So do we have some inventory, some hat inventory?
Yes. Okay. I mean, what kind of inventory? Is he like?
No. Just do we have some?
We have a handful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan Sowers asked a question. Can we purchase any signed LTF hats with Matt, Smoke, and Hank's signature? Yes, you can. What you have to do is go to ltfgear.com. All that site's still okay. ltfgear.com or letstalkfish.com. Right, Jeff?
Correct.
And go to the apparel.
Affirmative.
You just tell him.
You just told him.
Okay. Well. You're smiling at me. You're smirking at me like I'm getting ready to screw
because
up.
it's
He's
because
waiting
you're
until I
you.
screw up, and he's like, nope.
That's exactly
He'll say affirmative. Yep, that's right. Nope, you're wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah. So, all right, tell him where
Just
to go.
go with it.
Tell him where to go to buy our apparel.
Letstalkfish.com.
All right, and the hats. We have some T-shirts and stuff available for purchase. And if you put a note, just put a special note when you order it. I think there's a box for that, right?
Yes, there is.
Put a.
No.
Keep going, man.
I'm
You'll
gonna
get
throw
it.
this pin at you in a minute.
Keep going.
Evidently, you're either doing really, really good or really, really
It better not be bad if I'm sending people to the wrong place to purchase LTF stuff. So just put a special note in the box that you want it signed, and we'll take care of it. Give us a little time because
It might take a minute to get it all together, but
Yeah,
we'll
have
get
to
it
get
you.
Hank's signature. But yeah, it won't be a problem. Just put a special note in there.
Jeff
And,
can usually make just about anything happen, so
Very true.
I'm pretty confident we can make this happen.
Very true.
Affirmative.
My wife wants to know when her and Jacqueline are going to the spa. And
Whenever they want to go.
I'm just gonna throw this out there, but I think you should pay for that trip.
I have no problem doing that.
Okay, cool.
Let them go.
Anytime you want, baby. 30, 40 times.
Call Jacqueline and let her rip.
All right, y'all. We have come to a close. Unfortunately, I think it's well after 8 o'clock. I think Chris and Ryan are getting pretty hungry back there.
Time to eat.
Y'all pretty hungry?
You
They're
got to do
pretty
your
hungry.
trivia question without giving the answer away.
Jeff's
Oh.
got to do the trivia question.
Okay,
Jeff's on trivia question duties.
It is time for a trivia question. And like I said, a special giveaway tonight is a signed LTF hat from myself, Thrift, and Hank Cherry. Back-to-back Classic champion. That's like legend status, dude. It's
legend
pretty
status.
awesome. I
That
mean,
is
that's
definitely legend
pretty
status.
flipping awesome.
One
all right.
time's legend status. I don't know what 2 times is. It's whatever's above
Like
legend status.
Emperor or
Ooh, the Emperor.
the
I
Emperor.
like that.
We could call him the Emperor.
I like that.
Nobody's ever been called the Emperor in bass
I don't
fishing.
think so.
You like that?
The Emperor.
Yeah.
There it is.
You like that,
That's
Hank?
it.
Can we put that on your jersey next year?
The Emperor.
Yeah.
Emperor. I'm going to have a T-shirt made for you. It says
The Emperor.
100%.
Emperor. All right, 3. Jeff, you ready for the trivia question?
Yes.
All right, Jeff's going to ask the trivia question. The correct answer, and I'm going to put it on all of us tonight.
Whoever sees it first can.
Whoever
can
sees the
guide.
correct answer first on these 4 feeds right here, none of y'all watching because y'all always get mad at us, is the official winner. So, Jeff, roll when you're ready.
I'll preface this by we needed a Sharpie to sign the hat and for Hank to sign the wall. So we're like, hey, grab a Sharpie. So all three of them go to their trucks to get a Sharpie. I was like, well, let's count Sharpies. That'd be a great trivia question. So the trivia question is, between Hank, Thrift, and Matt, how many Sharpies did they come up with out of their trucks? That's something you can't Google like every other show. So
No.
total number of Sharpies between
All
three
three of
trucks. Go.
And while you're working on that, there was a lot of cool stuff debuted at the Classic this year. And
There was.
two of the things that I saw and took the most notice to, obviously, the new Ranger R boat that's
That's
coming
right,
out this
dude.
year.
I haven't even got
Yeah.
to see it yet. I'm kind of
mean,
jealous.
I am too. I didn't get to see it either, but I know Angler's Choice will be getting them in pretty soon. The pictures and the walkthroughs I seen online, the boat looks amazing. And, you know, Hummingbird's come out with the Mega 360 Live. Some guys already had it, I think, in the Classic. So
If I do this while you talk, does it bother you?
that was two things I took
All right, I
notice
got a
of.
winner.
We got a winner.
I saw the
already.
first one was Chris Holmes.
Chris Holmes.
I haven't even
dude.
seen that.
It
Well,
just
Jeff
popped in the
did.
feed. But my feed's going like lightning fast, so I had to stop you. Chris
I haven't
Holmes.
seen it yet.
He's on super speed.
And
All
the
right.
answer was 0. Not one
Not
single
one
Sharpie,
single Sharpie.
between three trucks.
I'm in my hunting truck.
I'm
We
in
had
my
to-
hunting truck.
I'm in my spare vehicle.
We had
as
to
well.
bring a Sharpie all the way from Iowa, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So Chris is like
That's why I wanted him on the show.
the winner of our trivia giveaway, our 100th show, who's here to go on a fishing trip with us.
had a Sharpie.
I might have a Sharpie. And Chris went out of his truck, and Chris had a Sharpie. So thank goodness for Chris, we were able to sign the hat for the giveaway tonight.
yeah, so send us a message on the LTF page, and we will
Facebook page
Facebook page, yes,
with
And
your
we'll-
shipping information.
shipping information. We'll get you set up.
I won't say name. Send us your name, unless that's not your name. Then we're gonna need your name
Oh yeah, the first
Yeah,
time.
I always say that. Send us your name.
on Facebook
and your address, and
because
we'll
you're
ship.
probably sending it from somebody
We'll
else's
ship.
profile.
My boy Josh White wants to know how many kids in 2021 will be named Hank now, destined for greatness.
That's going. No, that's number one. Number one in 2021.
Hank Emperor Cherry. Got the shirt. We got the shirts in the work.
The emperor in quotations.
Can we sell those on the LTF site? Do you mind?
Sell.
Do you
Sell
need
away.
any, do you need any kickback?
No. Sell away.
We might sell them suckers for like $150 or something. Get them signed and all.
Eric said zero's not a number.
Absolutely, it is.
It is on this show.
It's below 0 and above -1.
We make the rules.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all forget we make the rules. We have all the power. All right, so we let's see what's next. Next Tuesday. You don't even know this yet.
Well, I won't be here, so
That's right, but we have a guest. So
awesome.
I want to go ahead and announce our guest now, so y'all can prepare. So we want to take a different angle. I've actually got to go to Lake Lanier next Wednesday and shoot some footage with Pulse Fish Lures, who's a sponsor of the show, with some new products that we'll be launching and things like that. And the guy who's going to be doing our video work and some of our photography while we're down there is none other than Mr. McCoy from Scott Martin's YouTube channel. Mr. McCoy will be up here on Tuesday. He'll be staying at the house. And I wanted to get McCoy in here to give y'all an opportunity to talk about the other side of what we do. Any guys that
Oh,
get
that's pretty cool.
any guys that get video work, the guys with the big YouTube channels, because McCoy and the Scott Martin's channel is the biggest in the business, one of the best in the business, one of the most successful in the business. I don't think anybody can argue that.
No.
No.
And he knows the deal. So I'm gonna get him in the studio.
Now he knows this. We tell secrets on this show.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to tell all of Scott's secrets since he's not going to be here.
Ooh, that's good.
So yeah, no.
You're going to
but-
talk about his OnlyFans account?
Yeah, his OnlyFans. We may throw it out there. You never know. But y'all, it'll be a cool show next Tuesday. But Hank, man, I know how busy your week's been, and we can't thank you enough for being here.
Oh, I enjoyed
And
it.
congratulations again from
Yep.
everybody at Let's Talk Fish.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing the trophy. Maybe
That is
sorta, kinda, but no. In all seriousness, man, we're happy for you. It's awesome that it came back to the Carolinas once again, and hopefully next year it comes back or it stays. Well, that's South Carolina, Hartwell, but we got to separate South
Yeah,
and
no,
North.
you
It's
gotta
got to
bring it
come
back
back to
here.
North Carolina.
it's gotta come back
gotta,
to North
that's
Yep.
a different state. Yep. All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in.
Thank you,
And,
guys.
Yep. When we can't go fishing, we're gonna sit right here and talk fish. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Fish. Visit our private Facebook group to continue the conversation, post your questions, and talk with other fellow anglers at facebook.com/groups/Let's Talk Fish. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Fish Official and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exclusive content. Join us again next episode for more actionable tips, tactics, and techniques directly from the pros. And remember, when we can't go fishing, we're going to sit right here and talk fish.